This is what people are going to want to know, is if it was a permanent, we're not using indefinite, we're using permanent now, stage 2 or 3, would we at least have the same schedule every day? And then how does that help Eskom with maintenance, I suppose, is what I would like to know.
Yeah, that's the question that we're going to be asking. Let's get straight into that, G, because we now know that Eskom is considering implementing permanent stage 2 and 3 power cuts for the next 2 years. Eskom board chairperson, that's Mpho Makwana, announced this on Sunday. Now, the power utility is saying it will use this period to do critical maintenance on power stations in order to deliver a degree of predictable power supply to South Africans. Energy analyst and RUBK managing director, Jose Molesha joins me now to discuss this even further. Jose, thank you so much for your time, and good morning to you. I mean, what's your reaction to, of course, the chairperson of Eskom, Mpho Makwana, making the statement, not using indefinitely anymore, the P word permanent, now used for the next 2 years? What's your reaction?
Good morning to Melo and to the ENCA viewers. The reaction is that I'm not surprised, because I think we as South Africans should know that we have had constraints in terms of the supply of electricity for a long time, and these constraints are not abating, they are getting worse. So in order for us to resolve that, we need to do maintenance, reliability maintenance on the coal-fired fleet so that they can perform better. So there is no other way except to ensure that, because we don't have a reserve margin, that when we put those out for maintenance, we are going to have a shortage of supply, and therefore we're going to need to have that arrangement.
Yeah, we're also running a viewer poll question, Jose, this morning, asking our viewers what they actually prefer. Of course, we can't do anything about, where we are right now with the blackouts and the load shedding. And we're asking them, would they prefer knowing that we're at stage 2 for the next couple of years so they can plan their lives, work around it, as well as for their businesses? Or do they prefer the, fluctuating of different stages? But my question to you is, do we have even any control over this, whether or not different stages will fluctuate, or if it's even possible for Eskom to give it at a standard stage so that South Africans can better plan for their lives and businesses?
Well, yes, to an extent we do. What we don't seem to have control over now is the outages that are unplanned with respect to the generation capacity. So the plan is to work to ensure that at least that is improved. Once that is improved, then we'll be able to have predictability. So, but I think the biggest challenge, in my view, for the economy is having the higher stages of load shedding. So rather than having that, it's better to have a consistent, relatively lower levels of load shedding to allow Eskom the room to do what they need to do.
Speaking more about, the energy crisis in the country, President Ramaphosa has come out saying he has asked Eskom to hold off on the 18.65% tariff increase. What's your reaction to the president's now decision? Because, some critics may say, did he not know of this, pending decision before the decision was finalized, the granting of this tariff increase to Eskom by NERSA? Why make this decision now after the fact?
My reaction to that is that of confusion, really, because the multi-year price determination, the basis of it is in law, and that is the Electricity Regulation Act. Then we have the electricity pricing policy. It's very clear from the Electricity Regulation Act that Eskom cannot charge a tariff that is not determined by NERSA. So they have to charge what is determined by NERSA. So in that case, then what tariff are they going to provide for if the president is saying they should not take? Are they going to determine their own tariff, which will not be in line with the law? So I react with a bit of confusion.
Yeah. So what do you think should South Africans expect from this, especially in terms of how this request by the president will affect them?
I don't think that, honestly, I don't think that it's feasible for this to happen. Firstly, I don't think, also in terms of the board itself, the sustainability of Eskom, the plans that were announced yesterday or the other day were based on the fact that there's an 18.65% tariff that has been determined by NERSA takes into account their liquidity estimates that they were telling us are being modeled on the basis of what they will be having as a revenue. And what you do when you are providing the tariff, you are providing for the licensed entity to recover the costs of production of electricity. So from my side, I don't see how this is going to happen.
Yeah. Just lastly, before I let you go, then, Husa, we know that Premier Banazali Sufi has expressed that he wants that 5 billion rand Eskom debt by, Soweto residents to be written off. What's your reaction to this? Is this actually possible at this stage? Is this feasible? It's dragged for too long, where we've heard different voices politically in government as well talking about the scrapping of this debt. It seems like it's still a point of discussion to date in 2023. What's your view on it?
I mean, this is within the terrain of Eskom, not the political sphere. So the board has the responsibility to make sure that they make the right decision. They have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure they make the right decisions on behalf of Eskom. I don't know if writing that debt is a good decision, given where Eskom is in terms of financial resources. And so I think that political parties or individuals can have their opinion, but at the end of the day, it's up to the board of Eskom to make a call on that.
And we leave it there. Thank you so much. REBK Managing Director Huse Mulesha, thank you so much for your time this morning. Of course, talking to us more about not only the energy crisis, but also the president requesting NERSA to halt that 18.65% tariff increase, but also the impact that has on us, on South Africa. Huse calling it more confusing, Gareth, at this point. The timing of it all, we've discussed it. Why now? Could this be politicking? I mean, I suppose some other political analysts may see it that way. But also the question again around a more stable stage will still, of course, be the question of the day as we continue to hear what our viewers have to say.
Yeah, even if, as we heard from Professor Harmut Winkler from UJ earlier, even if the president gets his way, it was this call to hold off this increase, where does that money come from?
Yeah.
It's going to come from somewhere.
Yeah, someone has to pay for it.
There's no such thing as a free lunch. Tumza, thanks very much.